What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Girldonttexthim, the podcast that is group chat, part therapy, and 100% real talk. Today, I am so hyped because we've got a special guest in the building. Not only is she a mom, a wife, and the founder of a purpose-driven social impact agency, Get Social, but she just crushed her first TED Talk. So she is really somebody I wanted here because she just implements just the balance of being able to have it all, being a wife, being a mom, being able to be an entrepreneur. So it was important for me to have her here, and I'm so excited for this conversation because here at Girldonttexthim, this is about being women, having that conversation to be able to implement a work-life balance, how we show up in the world, in dating, love, all the things, and we can just be all the things, you know what I mean? So here is episode, I don't know what episode this is, to be honest with you, but I think you guys are going to love it. Give it up for Teja!
Thank you so much for that intro.
Isn't it? I'm not done, though, because I'm going to read your bio. You guys, this bio, I
really
love it. I was like,
you.
I literally texted Teja, I was like, send me your bio. She's like, I don't have a short one. I said, okay, we're gonna read the long one. I literally don't care because I love bios. Okay. Teja Smith, Teja Foster. What is the Foster? It's Foster.
That was a maiden name.
Your maiden name.
So I gotta
okay.
keep her alive.
Period.
She's in there.
Period. Teja Foster Smith. Did you think about hyphenate?
You know, I did, but I never imagined getting married in general.
No.
So it wasn't even really on my mind. And then I was just like, well, no, like, why would I change my last name? And like, I done built everything in my name.
Yeah.
And then my dad was like, change your last name.
Really?
And I was like, oh.
Okay, we need to get there.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
That's a
We'll
good
talk about
point,
that.
but let me read this bio first. So Teja Smith, Teja Foster, okay, founded Get Social in 2020 after recognizing the need for women of color to control of the space of social justice. The agency's values and alignment heavily rely on the voices of people being heard. The agency was created as a safe space for women of color to continue their fight for people's rights and work in an environment where they are trusted, heard, and uplifted daily. Since then, Get Social's work with political organizations like Rock the Vote, She the People, and has placed both brands as the leading organizations, facilitating a successful election of 2020, which was so good. Okay, that just this election too, but we'll get to that. Their work with the foundations and organizations across the country has an impact on the ongoing pandemic, voting rights, climate justice, and criminal justice reform. They are a powerhouse, growing bigger and stronger as the months pass. So that is Get Social's bio, which is amazing.
Thank you.
Now we're going to get into you specifically. Teja has spent the last decade, okay? Not 2 weeks, not 2 months. The last decade, okay? Combating social, she's been on the front lines.
And
on the social lines, okay? Political awareness via social media by building campaigns that impact Black and Brown communities across the country. Her contributions to school, #Schools Not Prisons, #Rock the Vote, and other organizations have helped shape the country we live in today. Teja enjoys tying in political topics to hip-hop culture and making the content relatable. She created Get Social as an outlet for women of color to make their voices heard. She resides in Los Angeles with her husband and son, attending festivals and vacationing across the world as a married mother, entrepreneur, social activist, okay? You're able to still do those things, and that is why I wanted you here. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me, truly.
Now, before I forget, because my memory is so bad, you did not want to be married. You've been married now how long?
4 years on Juneteenth, because I got married on Juneteenth. That's my day.
Teja is like black, blackity black.
As hell,
okay. Like, it was probably between Black History Month or Juneteenth. You were like, should we do MLK birthday or should we do Malcolm X? Like, what? Like, you do not play about it
at all. And everybody wear black. Okay,
it was really
wedding.
cute.
Thank you.
Okay, but you're originally from the Bay, though.
Yes, I'm originally from Oakland.
Okay.
But this year in August, I have lived in Los Angeles 17 years.
No way.
As long as I moved away when I graduated high school at 17.
Okay.
Now I've been here 17 years, and that is throwing me.
That is insane. Teja, do you remember when I first met you?
Yes, because then I was gonna be like, do you even remember like how long ago we met?
1,000%. Club Tejada.
Exactly. A good old Compton house party.
Good old Compton.
Because the Oakland girl loved to find her where, where the people at.
We were at Club Tejada when Club Tejada was still, what it was.
I was bartending.
Wait a minute. Wait, I just remember you being on the couch with your friend, Lolo.
Lolo.
Yeah. I just remember you guys being there. Yes, I just remember that, and it was just you had a mohawk back in the day.
Yep. I had a mohawk. When I graduated college, I had a pink mohawk.
No, you was not playing. I remember that. Everybody was just there catching a vibe.
Yep.
So it was really fun. So did you know your husband now at the time?
Yes, I was in a relationship, child.
With him? Mm-hmm. Wait, so you guys have been married 4 years, but...
We've been together. We met at 19 and 20.
Okay.
And when I say it now, like, when I was younger and I, like, hear people been, like, together or married since they were, like, that young, I'd be like, girl, like, did you ever have sex with anybody else? And now when I say that, I'm like, I was dating since I was 15.
Yeah.
So it's like, I've had relationships. We took a break, and it wasn't a break. We had broken up and just ended up coming back to each other. So that's why when you be seeing those tweets about spinning the block, I'd be like, girl... But sometimes you gotta spin it.
But how did you know it was okay to spin? Like, give me that story. Like the breakup and then how you guys seen each other again and like you like felt like you could spin the block.
Yes. So that's a great question because sometimes when I say that we took a break or like we broke up, people are like, oh, well, like, what happened? What da-da-da? So we didn't necessarily take a break. We broke up and he was the first guy to ever dump me. And I was like,
oh, he dumped you?
I was like, do you know who I am?
Excuse me?
Nobody breaks up with me. No, I leave everybody.
No, real.
What are you talking about?
No, really.
And he was just like, it's too much. And I was like, oh.
Like your personality or just your lifestyle, everything?
Just everything that was going on. And he wasn't wrong. It was too much. It was a lot going on.
Is he like a chill guy though?
He is complete opposite of me. He's a Scorpio too. We're two Scorpios.
Oh, okay.
But he is the yin to my yang. He is the one that I'm like, we need to get up and we need to like take it to the next level. And then sometimes he's like, let's bring it down a notch. You're a little up there. And I'd be like, okay, you're right. So we were dating. He was going to Howard. I was at CSUN. I was going to CSUN with a couple of his best friends. We knew each other in high school, but weren't in the same circles.
Okay.
We have two very weird encounters that we remember seeing each other. Like we were just at somewhere, turn around, and like each other were there, and we were like, okay, like that's weird because it's like I don't know him, but like why is he staring at me?
Like
why
the
is she staring at
secrecy
me?
though.
It is, and every time we talk about it, it's just like, imagine pausing that moment and being like, I'm gonna marry you one day, and it'd be like, girl, what are you talking about?
So when they say like you probably already met your husband, like that is so real.
I mean, I can't even explain to you how real that is because I know a lot of people. I've met a lot of people, and there's stuff I just don't remember. I don't know why I remember the 2 times that I turned around and locked eyes with him and just like kept moving. It didn't make sense then, and now it's like, oh, that's because I was gonna marry you and have your kids.
So crazy.
So he came down from Howard to visit at CSUN with his friends, and I'm super close with his best friends too. So it was just one of those mutual things. Like, we remembered each other from high school, followed each other on Twitter. He was coming to spend spring break, and it was just like, oh, like, let's all go bowling. Let's all go da-da-da.
At the time, how old were you?
I was 19.
Okay.
So this is CSUN College, back when CSUN was the HBCU of California.
Yes, it was. Outside of Dominguez Hills. That was like the little LA one.
So literally he came out here, we hung out, and then one day I had a little break from classes, and he was like driving back to his friend's house, and he was like, we were just like, oh, what are you doing? He was like, oh, maybe you want to grab some lunch or something. And I was like, yeah, let's go to the Habit. Super innocent, just, we go to the Habit, we're eating, this random white guy walks up to this old white guy, and he's like, I don't know you guys, but I'm just letting you know, like, don't let her go. And Dejan was like, did you pay him to say that? I was like, I don't know that man.
I don't know him.
He literally wrote that in our wedding vows.
Oh, that's so
because
sweet.
It was just, again, all of these alignment things. Like, we were just there having lunch, like, not even any intention, not in, like we were talking, anything. And literally he went back to Howard, went back to DC, and it was just one of those like, hey, good morning, like, what are you doing? Oh, da-da-da. And it was just like, oh, good night. Then it started being like 3 days, and I was like, I've been texting him every day.
So this was long distance, though.
This was long distance, and it was very much, it was 6 months of us just Skyping
Ooh.
Skyping.
Showing our age here.
Uvo.
The kids would be like, what is that?
FaceTime did not exist.
It was
so
not
we
a
were on the
thing.
computer's dying, like 3 a.m. I'm like watching the sun come up in DC, and he's like, oh my, I have to go to class. And we've been on Skype all night. And so we literally got, I think this is a really big foundation for us because we got to know each other with no physical touch, without talking about sex, talking about anything about that, and just getting to know each other long distance. And then he ended up moving to LA, and it was just like, woo! It was like this long distance, little cute thing I had going on was like in my face with like everything I had going on in LA, and it was just like a lot.
Okay.
It was too much.
Because you had already had a lifestyle out here. Like, yes, there were conversations happening, but he had a life in DC.
Exactly.
You had a life in LA, and it's like merging those worlds. It was like, hold on, this was cute when we were just falling asleep on the phone, but it's like now I'm outside. It's like,
Exactly.
wait, this is
and
how
I love to be outside, okay?
Yes.
You know?
So he probably was like, or was he like, wait a minute, I didn't know you was outside like this.
He did, definitely did. But it was just like, you know, talking to multiple people or like my college life and him just being in my face and him also coming to LA trying to figure it out for himself.
Yeah.
So it was very much like we were just young in a weird place and we both needed to grow.
Yeah.
And 100% I can admit that because we took that time apart and it wasn't like playful time apart. I was like ignoring him. We'd be in like group settings and I'd be like, don't look at me.
Oh my God.
I'd be like, mm-mm.
So how long did this like out of my face?
10 months.
That's a long time.
It was. It was 10 months. And truly, you brought up my friend Lolo. Lolo is the reason we got back together.
Shut up.
It was my 21st birthday, and I was having this huge birthday bash. I invited all my friends. I rented out a club, and everyone was invited but him.
On purpose?
We weren't talking.
Girl.
It wasn't on purpose, but we weren't talking. And so one of his friends had brought up, like, oh, you know, like, do you think Teja would invite Dejan to, like, you know, her birthday? And she was like, of course. Like, why wouldn't he? Of course, like, he'd be invited like everybody else
And
is.
you didn't know this, though? Girl,
She came home, and I was like, why would you say that? Why would you say that? Like, I'm dealing with a whole nother guy who's supposed to be there, all this other stuff. Like, why would you say that?
Yeah.
And so then everybody was just like, well, that's just mean. Like, you know, everybody's going to be here. He won't feel included. And I was like, okay. Like, I don't hate him.
Yeah, of
You
course.
know, like, I was just kind of standing on business and being like, you don't want me to don't talk to me.
Holding a Scorpio grudge.
Exactly. 'Cause that's what I do. So I text him and I'm like, hey, you know, it was both of our birthdays coming up on top of that. So it was also the first birthday that was like coming back around. And it was like, is she going to say happy birthday to me? Is he going to say happy birthday to me?
I mean, you guys are also kids at the time, so that's very childlike to be like, who is gonna whatever.
Absolutely.
But continue.
So this is like late October, and I text him, and he's like, oh, like, I really appreciate you inviting me, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, I'll see if I can make it. Like, see if you can make it. Like, okay. But
He was trying to be cool too.
exactly,
like,
trying to be
all right.
like, you know. But then he was like, you know, but I really miss you, and I think about you a lot. And I was like, no. I wasn't expecting you to say that.
But were you really into the other guy you were seeing though?
No.
Okay. It was like whatever.
No,
Okay.
no. It was, you know, hashtag for fun. Everything I was doing was just for fun.
At the time. I mean, but you guys end up getting back together and it's been up and stuck since then.
Literally, after that conversation, his birthday was the next week. He was like, oh, I was like, oh, what are you doing for your birthday? He's like, oh, I'm going to Santa Barbara with my friends, but my actual birthday, I'm just chilling. I was like, oh, like chilling by yourself? He's like, oh, I'd love for you to make me like that favorite tilapia dish that you used to make. And I was like, okay. And girl, now that was 2012.
Oh my God.
2011.
And we in 2025 now.
It is 2025, and that is my husband.
So what happens to the other guy? He just like faded out?
Yeah, you know, he ended up not being able to make my birthday, which was like, whoo, alignment.
Alignment, but that's also like, what if you were into him? Like, that's kind of like, no.
Yeah, it all just kind of worked out. But like, he ended up, I'm keeping his name disclosed.
Of
because
course.
It's a name disclosed.
Of course. No, it's not that kind of show.
Right, like, viral moment.
Right, no, for real. T-Report. Jason Lee. So, no, give us the name. So, do I know him? No, girl, it's not that kind of show.
But, no, literally he hit me like on my birthday and was like, you can say happy birthday, and I was just keeping it cool. And then he got back to Los Angeles after and was like, hey, like, I want to take you out for your birthday. And I was like,
Too late, papi.
Not happening.
Hashtag no.
And I just kept it extremely honest with him. I was like, I ended up getting back with like an ex, and we just been reconnecting. And he was just like, oh, okay. Like he was also one that never got broken up with, and it was just like,
you guys are just doing like a domino effect. Somebody dumped
exactly.
you, now you dumping somebody else.
Somebody feels always gotta
That's
get
very true.
hurt.
It's all fair when you are, trying to seek out somebody or somebody seeking out you when you want to do what's right. So you mentioned earlier that you never wanted to be married.
It's not that I never wanted to be married. I never saw myself getting married.
Okay.
As much as I work and like do the entrepreneur thing, I knew that was going to be me without husband and children.
Okay.
I was just like, I'll probably be too into my work and too into like what I'm doing and like being a rich auntie to even think about that.
I love that because recently Tracy Ellis Ross said some things on her podcast that kind of resonate with where you were. And I kind of think about that like myself because most little girls, when they are young, they think of white picket fence, dog, husband. I did not think that. And it was weird for me, like even saying that out loud because I knew I always wanted to be like this like big like mogul person, like just career. I never saw that. And I feel like sometimes, but you were an example of the opposite of what I'm about to say. I used to think that thought was hindering me from actually receiving it, but you're somebody who also didn't think of marriage and things like that, and you still were able to get married. So that's actually really good. I think for people that need to hear that might be like us and like very career driven, like, oh, I don't need it. I'm not gonna be. Now Tracy, I don't know Tracy's tea, but 50. When I saw Tracy, I love Tracy. I said, but that will not be me. I said, I'm so sorry. I said, I do not want to be 50 and alone. As much as I love it, I love the sentiment. I just said we are not designed to do life alone. Like we need a partner.
I would agree with that. I would agree. And I respect people that say that they don't want children. And sometimes people are like, oh, I know that sounds crazy. I'm like, it doesn't. I think more people should admit that.
I don't.
Because there's a lot of people that have children that shouldn't be parents.
Oh, yes.
And I don't want people to think that it's easy, that it's not like as difficult as people make it seem.
Yeah.
However hard you think it is, it is.
But I did tell you before we started, I went to Teja's house for a Cowboy Cardi. She had like a little listening party. It was exclusive. We listened to it, and we were there. But Nas wasn't there, though. No, he came later. But it was sleep. But just the things that you are doing with your son. I said, Teja, in my mind, I didn't tell you this when I was there, but I thought about when I left. I was like, Teja's the only person that I feel like I could actually be a mom. Because I feel like parenthood, when I think of the idea, I feel like it stops what I'm trying to do.
Because you think that it's going to slow you down, which it will.
Okay.
It's not. Both things can be true.
Okay.
Because let me tell you, as much as I opened the agency in 2020, I had my son. I got married in 2021, had my son in 2022.
Okay.
For a year, I breastfed. I was locked down to that baby. Me and him went together real bad. But at the same time, I was 8 months pregnant working red carpets. After the year of breastfeeding, I did my first work trip, got back out there, went to Atlanta for a Black woman like camping experience, and I landed back at home the morning of Mother's Day.
I think that's just you, though.
It is, but
I don't think
a lot of other women are doing it. Because let me tell you, recently, me and my husband had closed the door to another kid because I was just like, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's like, and I also feel like my son is just everything I could have imagined and more. I never dreamed of being a mom. I never dreamed of being married. And I'm like, and here I am, a mom and married. And I'm like, do I want to shake the table and make another one?
Because what if it disrupts like what you already have?
Because now I'm in a groove. I understand this. I'm having fun still. Like, I like to still have fun, and I still like my balance of being a mom.
Yeah.
And being myself.
Okay, that's a good pause right there, because I was just thinking, I was like, okay, that is where a lot of people are at. But what has been like the most like surprising thing as like your journey as like a mom, entrepreneur, wife? Like what did you, because we always like can overthink about something, like, but what surprised you where you like, damn, this is something I actually did not even think of or think I would experience?
The connection.
Oh.
When like last night I posted on my story that I was like my favorite part of the day is like reading nighttime books before we go to sleep. And it's just like, when I look at him and like, even though he looks exactly like my husband,
Yes,
I
he
see
does.
myself. I see myself in there sometimes.
Yes.
But it's just the connection and the understanding that like I created this person, I named him, I'm giving him this personality, giving him this blueprint, and it's like these are all things like everything you say and everything you do around your child is so impactful, and I will say that also opened up some wounds of being like, I already hated deadbeat parents, but now that I am a parent, I actually want to throw stones at them. Because these moments and these, like the power of creating somebody is so important. And every little thing you do, no matter if it's at 2, 3, 4, is so impactful on their lives.
Yeah. And for the fact that people will be like, I don't want to be there.
It's just like, oh, I'll pay child support. Like child support is the very least minimum. Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Children need their fathers.
They do.
Children need their mothers.
They do.
Children need stability. They need all the things that people just take for granted and act like, oh, they got it.
You know, I'm not a parent, but I just think that being a parent is the most precious thing. I think children are the most precious beings in the world. And I always say you're either raising a president or a serial killer. And it's not about, seriously, like, you know, like you're either raising somebody that's going to raise hell or raise awareness. I mean, and when I see people be like, he bad, she bad, I'm like, this baby has been on the earth for 4 years. Their brain is a sponge. If they're bad, it's because you're not putting in time or they're observing what they see.
And you telling them they're bad is conditioning them to believe that. And again, people think that at certain ages that like, oh, it doesn't matter. And it's like, just how you refer to my son, you're like, little baby genius. He's a sponge. He takes in everything and he's so attention detailed. He remembers everything. And it's like, he's not even 3 yet.
Exactly. And these are like pivotal ages where they need to experience that. So we've covered motherhood, marriage. We need to get into the impact of Get Social.
Yes, let's talk about
this
it.
social, just how you've been such an activist online. Now, I know pro-black. And now I understand that, but like what really brought you to that moment of saying like, I need to do something about it that's actually bigger than me just as an individual being an activist?
Yeah, when the president now first got elected. So I've been doing digital activism since like 2016.
Okay.
With the Schools Not Prisons tour. It was a 10-city tour across California. We went into underdeserving communities and into prisons to do concerts.
Okay.
So, I mean, it was all the way up to like Pusha T, Ty Dolla $ign, like Mr. Fab, like local artists, like Audio Push, just a ton of people, Las Rocas, all kind of stuff. It was amazing. I've always been in nonprofit work because of my grandmother. Okay. My grandmother and my mom moved to California, to Oakland, from Tennessee when mom was about 12 because she opened the first urban league in the Bay Area.
Oh my God. That's huge.
So it's one of those things like, it's always just been there. It's always been something I'm aware of. I went to galas and, you know, all of these fundraisers with my grandma when I was a little girl and was exposed to all of that stuff very young. And so moving away from Oakland, which was the shock of everybody, even though it was always my like goal to move to LA, very much so because I wanted my own identity. Yeah. Staying in the Bay, I would have been Carol's granddaughter, which is like, that's great, but I wanted my own career. And even now, I still have clients that are like, oh, your grandmother is Carol? And I'm like, yes. She is.
Oh, that's so sweet.
But yeah, when the 47th president got elected.
47.
That was 2016. And I predicted that election and everyone was mad at me over it. They were like, so what do you think from a social media standpoint? I was like, do you want to know? And then it happened and they were like, oh, and now it's happening again. So, you know, into 2024 was rough for me. Yeah. But that is why I've always been into it. I've always voted. When I turned 18, that was the first thing I did. And you got to think when I was turning 18, it was when you could vote for Obama.
He was like, Barack the vote.
It was like,
Barack the vote.
Like, not only am I turning 18, but then I get to vote for him.
You had
like,
the chain shirt on with the different colors. You was Barack the vote.
Oh.
That inauguration, I was in tears. I watched it with my grandmother who's no longer here, but she was like, watching her in tears, she was like, I thought I would never see this. And I was like, me either, Granny. It was like, it won't happen again, but you know.
Same. My great grandmother who passed away in 2020 at 99. Wow. She saw Obama get elected. And it's like, she is literally a descendant from, like, she is half white, half black. Wow. Because her father was a slave owner.
Yes.
And she saw a black president.
It meant something to us, and now I don't even want to talk about the world that we're living in, but I do want to continue with the agency. Now, this is you're a full-time entrepreneur.
Yes.
How did you make that jump from the workforce, from 9 to 5 to that? Was it scary for you? Like, or were you like, I got to do it?
It wasn't, because I've kind of always been that way.
Okay.
When I graduated college, however, it was like, no, I'm going corporate. No, I need to know where my paycheck's coming from. No, da-da-da. And then I got into the workforce and I was like, ew.
How long were you in the workforce?
Like 5 seconds.
Oh, you didn't like you weren't working like 9 to 5 from like 18 to like, it was like very quick.
In college, I've always worked retail. I was a retail girly.
I don't be counting them little.
No, but that built me.
Okay,
you know?
okay. That will build you. I worked retail too.
I tell everyone, people need to work at least one retail job or customer service job in their life.
You need to pick up them clothes.
Yes, you need to pick up that skill, that people skill, and being in front of people's faces, because it's missing.
I was a call center girly, but yeah.
But even still, you know, that's how you're able to just talk to random people and like feel comfortable to do so.
Today,
they don't have that skill.
No.
They don't have that skill at all. But during college, I wanted to be a publicist. I was a publicist at first.
I think I kind of remember that.
Yes, I have a degree in PR.
Okay.
I started working in it right after college, and I did do some 9 to 5s, but they were all agency work. It was like, you know, but I hated being a publicist. Oh my God, I hated it. And I quickly saw that a lot of people were asking were social media needs. And I remember telling my husband, then boyfriend, that I was just like, I think I want to be a social media manager. He was like,
It really wasn't a thing then, though.
It wasn't a thing at all.
It was like,
when I told my parents, they were like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
So 2016, really like 2015-ish, I'm doing my own thing. I was working as a publicist, but I saw the need to switch over to social media. So I started doing it way early on. And like, you know, it was like the boomers that were like, I have this business. I don't know what social media even really means. I started flipping a lot of Black and brown businesses, redoing their websites, doing their social media, doing paid ads, and they were getting visibility.
So what was just stuff. Instagram? It's Facebook and Instagram at the time, right? Okay.
And Twitter. Twitter was there.
Okay, yeah.
But they were nobody was monetizing on it. There wasn't really influencers. It was some people with some following, but it was like Common and like, you know, the moguls that we already knew. And so 2016, I started Schools Not Prisons tour, and literally from there, it was just word of mouth that I started moving into. I started working at another agency that kind of does what I do now. And then I went back freelance, and right before the pandemic, I was like, I'm just gonna go back freelance so I could just like chill on some rooftops and do work and then ship some champagne, and then a global pandemic happened.
Oh.
And it was just like, okay, but I hate saying this because that actually thrived my business. Okay. When the pandemic happened, people didn't really know how to communicate what was going on social media because everything had turned so like glitz and glam and influencer. We were really one of the only agencies that understood campaigns and spreading awareness and talking to people in marginalized communities. So my business blew up, and it was like I had the opportunity to say, you can turn down business or you can build something that you've always wanted and a place that you actually wanted to work at. I've had agency experience. I've had, you know, some corporate experiences and interactions. So I just kind of had that blueprint of my own knowledge.
Yeah.
So I started the agency, and then George Floyd was murdered.
I remember.
When George Floyd was murdered, that was a pivotal moment for my agency, truly. Everything catapulted, and people were really looking for social justice agencies and looking for Black women that led them. I had both. On top of that, it was only women of color that worked in my agency.
Okay.
Because even though I love my man, I don't like working with them. And I don't like being mansplained to at work either. So yeah, I mean, when George Floyd was murdered, that really changed the narrative. I started producing a lot of online shows. I produced Democracy Summer for Rock the Vote, where we had Katy Perry performing, Black Eyed Peas. I did Stop AAPI Hate campaign called See Us Unite, which was on VH1. I produced that show, got all the campaigns. There was a lot of K-pop artists, a lot of, like, Her was on there. It was a Black and, funny with Sinners coming up now, it was a lot about Black and brown solidarity in Asian and Black communities. Okay. So 2020 was like...
Where you were just like, you kind of took that leap. But see, people want to take a leap, but you have to know, like, you had unfortunate opportunity meets, but, you know, it was unfortunate as hell, but you saw the need for it. And I think that is where people have this idea of entrepreneurship because they see stuff online. Like you said, sitting on a rooftop doing my work. But it's like, you really have to like fit like a need if you're going to be an entrepreneur or like launch some sort of agency, not because this is my personal, but I think people do a lot of stuff for the wrong reasons when it comes to entrepreneurship. Like,
Absolutely.
I want to get out of it because I don't want people telling me what to do. You're going to work harder and more on your own.
Some people need to be told what to do.
And some people need to be told what to do. There are some people that are like, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I feel like I'm in the place of balance of both. I don't mind going to work. I don't have a problem with authority. I don't have a problem doing my work. But there are some moments where I feel like, I'm like, I see the gaps in this company and how this corporate is ran and they should do things better. But instead of giving that idea there, I'm like, okay, focus on how you can do that, you know, like to fit the need. So I just want to say, like, ask you, because we talked about the glitz in entrepreneurship, like, what do you think, like, a common misconception is for people who want to get in entrepreneurship, like, especially as a woman and create, like, agencies? Like, what do you think people, like, a misconception about that is?
I'm going to tell you one thing. When I went back freelance, I was like, oh, I want to be on the rooftops and drink champagne. I barely do that now. Okay. I be working.
Yes, exactly.
But it's the misconception of thinking that you're going to be an entrepreneur and work less.
Yes.
Absolutely not.
Because what are your hours?
You're literally working all the time. It's a luxury to be able to do that because it's a pull and a grab. Because did I have a maternity leave? A real maternity leave? No.
No.
But did I stay at home with my son for the first year in entirety? Yes. And people just need to realize the things that you have to tug and pull at to like be able to have the freedom. Like, yes, your schedule is different, but you know, I go to the gym in the morning, I'll go and do something that I want to do some work, go pick up my son, and then usually at night, me and my husband are up working because we're both entrepreneurs.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Teja.
Yes. So it's like, we're both up at night still doing stuff, thinking up, and I mean, we're both entrepreneurs and we are on the brinks of starting something new.
Wow.
It's like the entrepreneur spirit is not one for you to sit back. It's more of a generational thing. Like everything we're doing now is foundation for my children, for what Nas is gonna do, and our homes that we have, and all of these things that I'm building now. You have to think about that retirement goal in 20 years. You're not gonna see that sit back, oh, I'm gonna retire and all of this money that I'm making now is all of this. It's great now. It's good to have those savings and investing things, but it's not for the now, it's for the future.
And you know what? Now that you said your husband was an entrepreneur and this, you telling me about the journey of how you guys met, I think what people maybe, I don't know if people even think about this, is that marriage is partnership and purpose. And the fact that you didn't know this then. There was no agency. It was no entrepreneurship. It's just college kids. But the fact that you guys were so aligned, it's because that there had to be a bigger impact that you guys are to make. And I think that's so important when people are choosing partners, because you see all the shit online on Twitter and people like, he got it, did it. I'm like, you guys, this is not, make sure he got it. I want to be like, everybody shut up.
I just retweeted something that was like, I see why a lot of you guys are single. I was like, exactly.
Can you imagine if you had a date right now?
Oh, girl.
With the red pill guys?
Girl, when I talk to my friends, I'd be like, baby, let me tell you, me and Deja are going to be locked in till the death.
We're going to make it work.
Because it's no way I'm going back out in that dating pool ever. I mean, on top of that, like I told you, I'd never really imagined being married because it's like I love men, but I don't like men.
Yeah.
It's like talking to them and wasting my time was just like, no.
It's like when people say, I hate men, but not mine.
Yes. And when I met him, I was like, oh.
You got to find that gym.
And the same thing, I always resonate with this line from Insecure. I mean, my life is insecure.
Literally.
But when it was towards the season finale and Kelly was like, but I thought you never wanted to have kids. And Kelly was like, I didn't, but I want to have this nigga kids. I was like...
It was like, yes.
Baby.
Yes.
I want to have this nigga's kids. Like, period, point blank. Because when you find that person, I 100% know that if I wasn't with my husband now, I wouldn't have my agency.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have had the encouragement, the like alignment and the backing that I have now. Because what people don't realize also in marriage with the narrative that's, going on online about men need to have this, this, and this, like people get laid off. People, jobs shut down. There's a pickup and a balance that you need to have in a marriage. Like there was one time when I had fresh graduated college, I couldn't find a job. I'm searching around. He's taking care of stuff. He's doing the brunt work. Right before the pandemic, his job had shut down. My agency opened, and we were booming. He started building his platform now, Hellastalgia, which
I follow. Really good page. I love it.
Great hip hop music page.
It is.
He built that while, we were doing everything that we were doing. I was building my agency, and now that page almost has 200,000 followers. But imagine if I was sitting there like, well, you ain't got no job right now, and I'm doing this, and if you ain't matching me, then you need a da-da-da-da. It's like, no, because all of that up and down, and you're working, and I'm working, and whatever, got us to where we're at, where we own our own home.
Yeah.
We got daytime jobs, side hustles, other stuff. He's a mortgage loan officer, and at night and in between, he's doing his Hellastalgia stuff. But it's like, if I would have expected that out of him in our 20s, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you about my marriage.
And it's not about lowering the expectation. It's just about being realistic when with the person that you have, and stay offline. You are not Jada Wada. You are not a rapper's girlfriend, baby mama. You're not like, take your eyes offline and look at reality. As we always say, like, touch grass. Like, you need to touch grass. Like, I talk my little shit here and there on Twitter about whatever, generally speaking. Like, I just like funny shit, whatever. But like, at the core of me being outside, when I meet men, I don't be acting like that. Like, I'm interested in getting to know them because I do want to be married, and I do believe in having purpose partners. But we are going to close soon, but I really don't want to miss this because you just recently were a TED Talk speaker. TED Talk Teja in the house. Please tell us how that came about and what that experience was like.
It came about through literally my publicist reached out to me, Valise, who's amazing, another Twitter head in Hood publicist. She was just like, I think this is a great opportunity for you. It's in Inglewood. It's aligned with everything that you want to do. I did the audition, and I killed it.
Period.
And I feel like even when I delivered my TED Talk, it was very timely. It was literally about Black women, our impact on politics, and how we're always unheard of, unseen, and disrespected. And then the election happened the way it happened. So my TED Talk is very relevant. And as I was writing it, it was throughout 2024. So I delivered it in August, and literally it was like a month, maybe two before, VP Harris announced her presidency, and it was just like
insane.
Well, like, my TED Talk, as I was writing, just got more and more relevant as time went on. But that was an amazing experience. It was a shocker when I got in there, and they were like, so you have to memorize a speech. I was like,
whoa, I didn't know that. There's no teleprompter?
Girl, there's no teleprompter. I memorized that entire 8-minute speech.
No way.
And then you got to add your pizzazz on it. You got to add your stank on it. You got to 8 minutes. And mind you, I got to remember this 8-minute speech, and I'm having a year. It's probably since 2020, 2024 was the biggest moment for my agency.
Yeah.
I'm at Essence Fest. I'm doing Mary J. Blige, Strength of a Woman in New York. We are everywhere. I was in New Orleans 3-4 times that year. At one point, I was in 4 different states in 1 month. I have a husband. I have a child. I have an agency. Memorizing a TED Talk.
But see, everything you just said, I was like, I keep saying this is a Teja thing, but like you said, there are so many women doing this, but it just shows that you can do it all and that you do not have to settle. But I think, what would you say to all of that? Because I'm saying, like, you don't have to settle, but like, how do you feel like you were able to really do this? Like, what is like the secret sauce or like the cheat code to you to be able to travel, have the baby, have the husband, do a TED Talk, have an agency? Like, if you can pinpoint it, what would you say?
100% having the right partner. Because people are always like, well, where's Nas at? And I'm like, he has a father. He has a dad. Also my husband. So he's at home with them. Even a month old, I left, like, I went to my sister's graduation, and they were like, oh, like, who's the baby with? I was like,
his dad.
My husband? They're like, you left him alone? I was like, yes.
Because so many women are in bad spots.
I'm like, absolutely. He nurtured me back to life after I had his child, and he knows how to nurture his child. But 100% a great partner, but moments to yourself. When I took these work trips, I was also doubling them as time to roll around in the bed, go and get a pedicure in the middle of the day, and like take some time to myself. Time to myself is the most important thing that I could ever have. And it's important to remember that when you're in a marriage too, because sometimes people double it as like, well, I need to spend time with my husband, but like I go out with my friends. When I was in New York for 6 days, I went out and had like a nice little college night with one of my best friends out there. We was at the bodega at 4 a.m., just having a good time. And it helps me balance that when I get home. I want to be in full mom mode, in full wife mode.
Because you took that time away to have to yourself. But
Exactly.
I see a lot of people say they have like mommy guilt, like when they go away.
Absolutely. The first 3 times I left, I cried until I got to Essence Fest, and I was like, he'll be all right.
You're like, actually, I'm having a good ass time. So, okay.
Exactly.
So you're like, no mommy guilt. So mother, this is Teja's titles. Mother. Which title do you like first? Teja, entrepreneur, mother, wife, mommy?
I don't know. I really don't. I think mother. I'm like mother, wife, boss. That's what I like to say.
Mother, wife, boss. Wife, mom, boss. Okay, so you have to leave with like a piece of advice for the girlies. Unwed, in a bag, outside.
You know, one thing I will say is I always give people advice, and I'm like, but I had time. Trying to build somebody up in their 30s, no. I don't think men right now should have it all figured out. They should have some grace, but red flags are red flags. But there's also red flags that are green flags for people to grow from. But everything isn't a red flag to turn away from. You know what I mean? I have red flags. When I met my husband, I was a fucking mess. What? Like, he was a mess. I was even more of a mess. I think women need to start being honest about ourselves being messes.
Be accountable.
Because I was going out to dates just to go eat and had no intention of talking to anybody. That's a red flag.
It's pink.
It's a red flag. It's a red flag at 35.
Oh, it is a red flag at 35, yes.
When I was 19, absolutely.
No, that's what you do.
Let's go to crustaceans. Absolutely.
So understanding I get what you're saying. Like, there's a certain age and a time and a place, depending on where you're at. Maybe you do have more time if you're in your 20s.
Yes.
If you're a girly in your 35, building up, he should have been built.
Yes. And understand that there's habits at 30 that you can't change, but there are some that you can work with. I just think there needs to be like a tug of like, these are things that I can live with.
Yeah.
These are things that are non-negotiable, but sometimes the non-negotiables be too much. But I just think leadway. I think you have to find your person. You have to admit that you also need adjustment too.
Yeah.
We all need adjustments.
That's real.
Nobody's perfect, including us.
And to go to therapy.
Because I be at therapy once a month, baby.
And that's what an intricate part of lifestyle with being a mom, a wife, mother, boss, all of these things. But Teja. Thank you for coming.
Of course. Thank you for having me, boo. I love this conversation.
I wanted to get into more. I could talk all day. But tell everybody where they could find you and your agency and you also.
Yes. Agency is getsocialwithteja.com. You can find me on social media at Teja, like Flavor Flav. Whenever I tell people that, they're like, that is not the reference. I'm like, it is.
Do you have anything coming up that you can talk about?
You know, I have, yes. I just started a new channel platform called For the Record Black Women. It talks about all the things that Black women have done first, the things we are forgotten about, the things that people may have slipped from their minds. Okay. It's in the works. It's not in the works. It's live. Okay. It's happening. But I have major things coming up with it.
Can we follow it? Like, is it up to follow?
Yes, it's For the Record BW.
For the Record BW, okay.
On all platforms, TikTok, Instagram, and Threads, and Facebook. But it's cute. It's like Black girl magic, but if you want a little bit of politics, but you want a little bit of reminder that you that bitch.
Period. Hello, clack it.
Because that's me.
Period. You can be all the things. I want anybody listening to know that you can be all the things. You can be that girl. You can be a wife. You can be a mother. You can be a boss. You can even be a single lady. But the most important part is that you be yourself. Don't lose yourself in this process. Yep. Do not lose yourself in social media. If you're on dates, go on these dates. If it's not what you want, don't feel like you're running out of time because it's like, oh, I know, just never settle. And also, always, girl, do not text him. Listen to this podcast first and then give him a text. Make sure you guys follow, like, subscribe. Follow me on social media at bombshell B0MCHELL, I think, and also follow Girldonttexthim on all platforms. Bye. See you next time.
Thanks for having me, boo.
Of course.